Aloha and welcome to True Story with Lori. So glad you are joining us today as we talk with people, real people pushing through something. And I'm so excited about my guest today, Lee Ahmet. And her book is Living Within a Negative Mind. If you could hold that up. Michelle, I'll call you Michelle. So there's her book. It's available on Amazon. It's super interesting. It's an easy read. And welcome, Michelle. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So I just want to start out first of all, like why did you write your book? Why did you feel the need to kind of write your story?
Well, the movie the movie that got me interested in it. I mean, I wasn't beaten with coat hangers or anything, but Mommy Dearest,
Oh,
because I lived somewhat a similar life. Like I said, I wasn't beaten up, or well, I wasn't beaten with coat hangers per se, but
yes.
it was I had a really hard childhood, and that
Mm-hmm.
still affects me even to
Yes.
this very day, even as a 37-year-old woman, almost 38-year-old woman.
Yeah.
I struggle with my past every single day,
Yeah.
like every day, and I become inside my own head because of like things that were said to me as a child or things that I went through as a child. You read my book, so you know it was
Yes.
pretty extreme, and it
Yes.
is all true, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was a rough childhood for
Yeah.
me, and it's just hard for me because I get triggered very easily, like
Mm-hmm.
by the slightest thing. I mean, I realize it could be petty. I realize it could be uh, slight, but in my mind at the moment, it's like uh, big.
Yes, kind of
It's
all
hard for me.
consuming. And so it was
Yeah,
it was it was the movie Mommy Dearest that inspired you to write your story
yeah,
down.
because she didn't live the greatest childhood
Yes.
either, and in
Yeah.
the end, I liked the very last line of the book. The brother was saying, "Oh, she got the last word," and then Christina Crawford says, "Does she?"
Oh,
Because she wrote the
yes.
book Mommy Dearest. But
Yeah.
I just wanted everybody to know why I am the woman that I became, because this isn't who I wanted to be.
Yes.
I can sometimes I'm an introvert for the most part.
Mhm.
I have maybe a handful of close friends,
Sure.
because you can't trust nobody really. Um, it was very extreme. Like, I learned at a young age this world can be a cold place, a very
Yes.
cold world,
Yeah,
to
so
say the least.
you in your book you describe your household, and just your household was confusing, like um
Negative energy, like negative to the extreme. My uncle used to say the devil was in that house, and you know what?
yes.
Looking back,
Yeah.
I do believe that, because like if it wasn't one couple of the house fighting, it was us children. If it wasn't us children, it was them. It was, it would always be never a day of peace, never a
Yeah.
day of peace. And
Yeah.
there was jealousy, which I in the midst became a very jealous woman. I
Mm.
can't lie, like I've seen it all my life, so it kind of like stuck within me. It's
Sure.
toxic, I know, but
Sure.
it's like I became insecure because of my childhood. I'm a very insecure woman right now, even
Mhm. Mhm.
at almost 38 years old. Um, and I just basically I wrote it too, just to show other women or even men that, hey, you're not alone. There's people that are out there that have faced exactly what you have. But we
Yes.
we can make it through it. It's just it takes work. I mean, I'm still a work in progress too, and my book even says that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
we all are, right? We all are to an
yeah,
extent.
that
But
is true.
you do write, that you felt like there was a dark entity, but kind of getting back to the household with all the people that live there.
Oh
Um,
yeah, a
so
lot of people.
so your paternal, your dad's parents, so your grandma and grandpa on your dad's side were actually who you called mom and
Mom and
dad.
dad. Yeah, they
Yes.
they raised all of us pretty much
Mm-hmm.
from babies. I
Yes.
did live with a foster family for a brief time,
Yeah.
and they were interested in adopting me, but in the end, my mom, my
Yes.
grandmother, wanted us children to be together, because
Sure.
there's five of us, but then it was four of us. My
Mm-hmm.
older brother never did live with us. He lived with our maternal parents, our maternal grandparents,
Okay.
and they raised him. But my dad's side had us, like my father's side raised the three of
Yes.
us.
Yeah. So the
So
grandparents are in the house and they're your mom and dad, but then you've got
Yes.
your bio father, that's what you kind of call him, father,
Yeah.
and stepmother in the
Oh yes.
house, and then there's aunt
My aunt,
and
her boyfriend,
and
the monster.
and the monster. So
He's the monster.
there's all these people in your house that you're trying to sort out who they are. Um,
Yeah, it was very confusing. Even for us kids at the time, because like I said, there was a lot of us in one house, and
yes.
it just became stressful. Like until the house fire, when we all branched out and went our own way. That's what actually got us all in our own way,
Yeah,
pretty much.
but you were close with mom and dad, with
My
the
grandparents,
grandparents,
yes.
mom
Oh
and
yes.
dad,
Oh
and
yeah. They're both gone now, but yeah.
yeah, and it was your dad, and then kind of later the aunts, the monster,
The boyfriend, yeah. The
yeah,
monster.
but at one point your father, bio father, in an argument or in some bullying, abusive way, whatever, called you the accident of
Of
84.
84.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here, like the person, that brought you into the world, right, so to speak, called you an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was just, I don't know what his problem was. He's more mellow now. He's like 61 years old now. So I'd say he's more mellow when he isn't on his alcoholic binge.
Okay.
But because he's a bad alcoholic now, belligerent alcoholic,
Yeah.
and it just. But I mean, when he's sober, he's a great guy.
Sure.
He's more mellow now that he's older. But in the younger days, it was
Yeah.
bad,
Well,
and I just wanted to.
you say that you felt like a prisoner, like he really controlled you.
Oh
Would make
yeah,
you
that
stay
I
up all
was.
night and
Yeah, like there was a part in there too about he would point to my chair, and I was expected to stay in that chair all night. Like I couldn't go outside with my brother, my sister. I was just expected to sit in that chair. I was a child. It's like, why do I have to be in a chair all night long?
while they
And
were out playing, or was this like
yeah,
through the whole night?
and it was basically just me too that he would do that with,
Right.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Like he knew that I don't know what it was. I guess I was the one that he could most control.
Okay.
You know, I
Yeah.
guess we
Yeah.
could say.
So were you in the chair? You had to sit there for hours and hours,
Yeah,
or okay,
yeah. Because like
like
he'd put the TV on, and he'd
okay,
expect me just to sit in that chair all night. Like
like all night
it
till
was
bedtime or all night till morning?
no, like
Oh,
until bed, pretty
okay.
much.
Okay.
I never really knew why he
Yeah.
had to have me like so close all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was a child. I missed out a lot on my childhood, and
Yes.
like I said earlier, that does really affect me even today because I get triggered very easily, and it seems like it's a big thing at the time, but then when I realize it's whatever the trigger was that triggered me, it's like, why did that bother me? You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
I get triggered easily,
Yeah. Well,
and even I don't know.
at least you know to ask the question. Why did that bother me? Um, and so you moved back and forth a little bit. I think you started out with the big house with all the people, and then at some point it was just your dad and your stepmom. You just lived with them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was after the fire, and then when I moved out when I was 19,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved in with my mom and dad, and that's when my life fully began. I was
Okay.
able to do what I needed to do in life.
Yes. And so when you kind of broke free sort of from your dad, that's when you felt like you were able to
Life had
begin
begun.
living.
I
Yes.
was, like I said, I was about 19 years old. It took me till 19 to, say enough was just enough because, like I said, when I moved back in, he picked up drinking, and I never knew him to drink. Like,
Okay, yeah. And so
I mean,
at 19 you kind of moved back with mom and dad.
mom and dad,
Yeah,
yeah,
with
pretty much,
grandparents where
yeah.
it was much more healthy. Was
Healthy,
it?
stable, much
Okay.
more stable for me,
Yes.
and I just wanted to live at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't know what being a child was, from my innocence being taken and everything else in the household. It was extreme.
Yes. Because at some point, living with the aunt and the monster, it was the aunt's significant other that started to sexually abuse you.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. During your teenage years.
Oh no, 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 no. I
Oh,
was much younger. I was probably
oh,
like
okay,
7 or 8, because when the house fire broke out, I was only 14, and that happened. Um, I want to say maybe the late, because I was born in 83, so I'm thinking, I mean, I can't remember precisely what years it was, obviously, because that's
okay.
something that,
But
is
you were
very
young.
difficult for me.
You were
I
a
was
little
probably about
girl.
7 or 8, probably
Okay.
8, early 80s to early, I mean, excuse me, late 80s to early 90s.
Yeah.
So it was bad. I was young when it happened. I didn't
Yeah.
know what was going on. It was wrong at the time.
Yeah. So
So
this
I was
this
really,
was this was during the time when you lived in the house with
yes,
the
this was
big group of
years before
people.
the house fire. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
years before the house fire.
Yes, and so you've got kind of your dad controlling almost your every move. Uncle is sexually abusing you. Um, and so of course this sets up mindsets, right?
Oh yeah.
For you to go forward with. And one of the things that you say is I am always in a negative state of mind. What do you
I
mean when
am.
you say that?
Um, it's like I always tend to look at the negative side instead of the positive side. Like the
Mm,
glass is always half empty
okay.
rather than half full. No matter how hard I try to get out of that mindset or whatever it is, it's hard for me to get out of that mindset because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to the negative aspect of life, my life.
Yes, yeah,
It's like,
it's
how do
just so
you adjust to
ingrained.
change?
Right, yeah, and the pattern is just so ingrained. And so because of these things, that happened to you during your childhood, and understandably so, you've got like major depressive disorder, you suffer
I
from
do.
anxiety, there's things that you now suffer from. So um, what is that like?
Uh, Definitely not fun. It really takes control sometimes. It
Hmm.
really does. It affects me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I tend to get up in my own head a lot.
Okay.
It The anxiety especially like really tends to get to me a little more often.
Yeah. So
Like I think that's
is it paralyzing, the anxiety?
sometimes because my
Sometimes.
biggest coping coping mechanism is sleeping. Like I tend
Okay.
to freeze up and all I want to do is sleep. That's how
Okay.
I best deal with life sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, and sometimes that's a good way. So it I'm glad to see that you didn't turn, to drugs and alcohol. Sleeping is a much better a much better way
Right.
to get through something. Um, and so one of the things that you talk about in your book is bladder pain syndrome. Like you,
Oh yes, I have that too. I'm constantly, and I think that might be pertain to my anxiety too. I read the
okay,
bladder thing.
uh-huh. And
Um,
and
I
so
do.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I did read that because I'm always like I go at least once an hour, and I see people that I work with not even have to go at all. It's like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm some kind of, I can't even describe, but it does get the best of me sometimes that I have to
So
go
you
that
just
much.
have to
But
go to the bathroom frequently, and it interferes with the job
life in
sometimes.
general,
Yeah,
yeah.
like if you're gonna be on a long road trip or something.
Even car rides, like
Yeah.
to grocery stores, I have to. It's rough. I think that's part of my anxiety too, and the bladder pain syndrome.
Okay. And so that's not a physical, there's like nothing wrong with your bladder. It's more of a psychological.
It might be. I'm not sure because they have had me on some of the best bladder medications and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem to help. Like it doesn't really help at all. So I'm thinking it's a little bit of both. Because like
Yeah.
I said in there too, like I used to have bedwetting issues up until I was like 12,
Yes.
and that kind of got to me a little bit. But
Sure.
it's like
Sure.
I just, whatever it is, I can't diagnose myself, but whatever it is, it's it's stressful because like, you
Yeah.
know, my job now understands, but my last job, which was a pharmacy,
Yeah.
didn't understand. You'd figure it would be the opposite here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I used to get the snide comments, oh baby, the baby aisle's over there for diapers. It's like, can you keep
Mm.
your comments to yourself? And or
Yeah.
I get the eye rolling because every time I would have to go, somebody would have to come to the front to man
Yes.
the register.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
So,
well, suck it up. You're the
yeah.
supervisor. You're
Yeah.
who I have to call.
Yeah. So you
Here
can
you
see how
go.
that would be kind of frustrating for everybody.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's
Well, no, I
your
get that. I do
your
get how that's
stress.
frustrating.
It sounds like it's a manifestation of stress.
And it
No.
might be because like
Yeah.
there was never a day of peace as a child for me.
Yeah.
Like never. It was
Yeah.
I didn't the way I say it, I didn't have a chance to be a child. You know, I
Right.
missed out on pretty much my childhood and adolescence years. Like
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I really did. I
And
really did.
another thing that you say in your book is that you always you feel like you're always wrong, like you're the one that's wrong.
Yeah, because that's my anxiety. I know that it's definitely that's when my anxiety comes in because that's how I was treated as a child. Like everything I said, everything I did, I was always wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as my father went, you
Right.
know, and
Yes. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it kind of stuck with me. You know,
Yes.
psychologically, you can't run from what's up in here. You know,
Right. Right.
so once you get used to it, it's just hard for me to break free of my childhood sometimes. And this was definitely a hard book to write. Like I still have nightmares because I had to um, relive the traumas, so to speak,
Yes. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
everything that I went through.
Mm-hmm. And that came through, in your writing. I was wondering if this was going to be like a really cathartic
Oh,
process
it
for
was
you.
definitely hard.
Did you get any type of healing through writing all that down and remembering it, and reliving?
I think it kind of opened it up for me more, like
Mm-hmm.
more or less.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm trying.
Yes. Yeah.
But it kind of like reliving it. I have a lot of bad dreams, you know, probably from having to relive it and rewrite it and edit
Sure.
it and the whole
Yeah.
process of writing the book. Um,
Right.
it
Right.
was difficult to say the least.
I can
But I
imagine.
felt I had to do it.
Yeah. So, but do you feel like anything kind of got resolved within you, or no, not at all?
Um, maybe like writing the spirituality part of it,
Mm.
like the
Mm-hmm.
religion and everything in that section, but
Mm-hmm.
for the trauma, like I wrote how I feel about it now, but I'm still
Yes.
trying to heal from it. I can't lie. You know, I'm a work in
Yes.
progress as we all are, but
Yes. Of
it was
course. Yeah.
it
It takes a long
it kind of
time.
opened it, yeah.
Yeah. So opened it back up, and you're like, great,
Yeah.
great. One of
I
the
just I felt I had to write it though because like after seeing the movie Mommy Dearest, I don't know what it was. That's the movie that kind of more or less inspired me to write. But I
yes.
started off writing poetry when I was
Okay.
about 13, 14 years old, and
Okay.
I wanted to go higher. I wanted to go more, and
Yes.
this was it.
Yes. Because one
I'm
of
working on
your
my second.
Good, because one of your dreams is being a writer, and now you are a
Yes,
published writer. That's awesome. That's
yes.
not wrong. That's not
I'm
wrong.
hoping to
That's
get
right.
the title. 'Cause right now I'm just an author, so to speak, but I'd like to hit the title writer to where I can just sit home and just write books all day.
Yes. Another thing that you said in your book that really kind of struck me because I could relate, not so much now, but I think this is when you had your own apartment. You would sleep on the couch of your apartment in case someone broke in, you could escape.
I would,
Like you
yeah.
you needed to face the door kind of thing.
Well, no, because I didn't really have cell phones then. Like
Mm.
I wasn't really into the cell phones until just like a few years ago, till 2014 or so. But
Mm-hmm.
I had a landline next to the couch, so that
Okay.
way if I heard anybody, I don't know what that was because like I never really had any. Well, when recently, like a few years ago, I had an attempted break-in, but nobody was home, which was still kind of scary. But um, I never really had a break-in. Like I don't understand where the anxiety from that came from, but
Well,
that
probably
used to
just
be.
from everything. I mean, you got to
I
watch your
maybe.
back. Kind of this the idea of you got to watch your back
And
all
then
the
after my
time.
husband left, like the
Yeah.
abandonment part, I was alone with a 4-month old.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
kind of got a little
Yeah.
hard for me.
Oh,
That was
yes. Because your husband
difficult.
just left one day and never came back. Never said a
Um,
word or.
yeah, I guess he had it planned. Like he must have had it planned because I ended up finding out where he went. He went back to a first love that he knew,
Okay.
all the way to from here to California down to Florida, and I never heard from him again.
Wow.
Never
Well,
saw his son. Our son is 15 years old now,
okay.
almost 16.
Yeah.
He'll be 16 in February. He hasn't seen us since he was 4 months old. I think that's pretty sad.
That is
But
sad. That is sad. But who knows? Maybe
yeah,
it was for the best, as
I think
well.
it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't my mindset then, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe now it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you this kind of fast forward a little bit. You have a friend, and I think this might have been the beginning of your spirituality. Maybe I'm not sure. You were just out somewhere, and you have a friend that saw you, and said to you, "Your aura is
My
blue."
aura.
So I
He
think
thought
you're
I was
probably
pregnant, and it was
pregnant with a
weird.
boy. I mean, that is
Yeah,
like odd and kind of random.
I'm getting
Um,
the chills from that. Like seriously, I just got like a chill going down my body. But yeah, like he looked at me, and it was around the time my grandfather was dying, and then shortly, my grandfather died June. Well, Dad, we'll say, died June 28th, 2005. I found out July 5th, 2005 that I was pregnant. So that
wow.
was right around the time. It was,
Yes.
yeah, it was very weird because at that time I don't think I was, but I mean I could have been because
Mm-hmm.
I found out when my grandfather died, my dad died, I was already 8 weeks or so.
Wow.
Like around
Okay.
8 weeks, give or take 7, 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad, but what a picture of the circle of life, kind of right there. I know
One door
you're.
closed, another open.
Yes. Yeah. And so you start talking about and getting into kind of reincarnation, and you start to see signs everywhere. What do you mean when you say I saw signs?
Well, I'm a signs are everywhere girl. Like that day, like the day my mom died, and it's written in there. It was the day before she died, the 5th of March 2008. It was just bad weather, It was just, you could tell something was off, pretty much. It was just not a good, it was raining, it was cold, it was dreary. I think maybe even a thunderstorm or two.
Mm.
But the next day it was beautiful out. And that's the day she died after
Mm.
midnight. So, and she was struggling with my uncle Michael, and that's how the book started on September 10th, 1983, right before I was born.
Mm.
My uncle
Mm-hmm.
died in a drunk accident,
Okay.
a fatal crash, we'll say, but it
Yeah.
was due to alcoholism.
Okay.
He was the passenger though, but she struggled with that for a very long time, and I can
Yes.
understand that now, being
Yeah.
a mother of two little boys. I can
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. Yes, of
That must have been
course.
hard for her. Like I used to see her crying all the time, and I say, "Mom, what's wrong?" "Oh, I'm thinking of my Michael."
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
she had deep belief in heaven. Like she was the Catholic. Like if we even went by a Catholic church, even whether if it was ours or not, she'd have us bow our heads. I don't really follow the Catholic religion anymore, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Um
Obviously, they're not. They're not into reincarnation. But yeah, that's the belief I'm strong with,
Yes.
for real.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's my
So now you kind of look around your life and you see signs that point you in directions and that kind of
in
thing
dreams. Like I
in
once
dreams.
read too. Yeah, I once read too that and I know this doesn't make sense with reincarnation, but if you dream of somebody that died,
Hmm.
that means they visited you in a dream.
Okay.
But I do believe that we all leave behind that essence of our last life, kind of, so to speak, but we
Yeah.
still move on to a new life, a new body. But
Yes.
I do believe that because I just actually had a dream of my mom last night, and it was kind of like weird. Like I didn't comprehend in my dream, this isn't right. You're not
Mm.
here anymore. It didn't quite hit me, but once I woke up, I'm like, all right, it was a dream.
Yeah, so you
Sometimes,
so you were hanging out with your mom in your dream.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard when I have dreams like that because then when I wake up, it's like, you're not here.
That's the other
Uh,
life, the nighttime life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think one of the last things that you say in your book, it was the last thing I wrote down, so I know it was towards the end, and then we're getting to our time was, um, I mean, no one is your friend. That just really broke my heart because I feel like I've got deep, close friendships, a couple anyway, which you don't really want more than that.
No,
But
no.
so, and so, I mean, no one is your friend. Why did you write that?
Well, basically, I'll tell you a little tip. Stay tuned for book two, because that's what that's pretty much about. But that's what I've learned. Like friends that I thought I had in life were, they were gone as soon as I needed them, or
Okay,
like once I outgrew something, it's like they kind of outgrew me.
sure.
It's like they obviously weren't really my friends, but the, the next book is about a best friend that I had and a babysitter. And she hit my kids. Like, yeah, she that's it's called betrayal and corruption. And then from
Mm,
there, I ended up dealing with corruption, which is DCF, the state of
okay.
Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm still working on that one. But I mean, like, I've had best friends that I thought were the best friends in the world, and in the end,
It wasn't
not so
that
much.
way. Yeah, yeah. So, what is kind of one positive that's come out of you writing the book and kind of going through this process?
Well, I'm hoping honestly that I can get healing from it after a while, and that I can help other people to let them know you're not alone. I actually got a message in my inbox saying thank you for writing your book. Because
Yes.
I thought, she basically said that she thought she was alone, and I said no. You know,
Yes. See, you're already touching people. I think that's a great
I hope so
place
because that was
to.
one of my biggest things. But yeah,
Yeah, you're already helping people. That's awesome. I too am glad you wrote the book and are sharing and helping people to know that they are not alone and
well,
giving a really good picture of what it is like to live, within a negative mind and how that can happen. So hold your book up one more time.
it is free on Amazon today too. The
Oh,
Kindle version, just
yeah,
a free
perfect.
download
Oh, good.
if
Perfect
anybody's
timing.
interested in reading.
Yeah, so go get it on Kindle and Amazon. It's there. It's worth the read. You definitely will not feel alone if you struggle, kind of with anything from a traumatic past. And so, Michelle, you stick around, but everybody else, mahalo. Thank you for joining us here on True Story with Lori, and we will see you next time.